Hi, my name is Samir. Today I'm going to talk about some really interesting issues, some really, something that just doesn't make sense today. I'm going to ask some real questions and try and understand about what the fuck is going on in this world. Okay, let's start with something really interesting. You know, the guy who is now the president of United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. I don't know how he managed to do that, but let's face it, that's what the reality is right now. That we have a president of one of the most powerful economies in the world, the United States, and this guy has essentially been treated as a joke by the media for all of these years, even before he was president. Even before he came to power, he was treated as a joke by the media. And I really don't know. I mean, maybe I'm too far off from ground zero, but I just don't see the sense in it. What changes could this man bring? And based on the things that he has been talking about, it just sounds a load of bullshit somehow. Because, I mean, the man's talking about building a wall. The man's talking about banning Muslims or banning a religion. Let me just put it that way. So, banning a religion and numerous other things that this guy is talking about. And you have to keep in mind that this is a guy who has access to almost limitless power. This man is somebody who is essentially ruling the country, which is one of the most powerful economic forces in the world today. It's just extremely difficult to digest and to swallow. You have to take it with a pinch of salt that there's definitely something interesting that's going on which we have no idea about. Something which we as normal people are just not known. I mean, we're just not informed. Donald Trump is one example. A lot of other shitty things that have been going on in the world at this time, right? I mean, you have to talk about information which is being held back. You have to talk about people who are trying to give out information. Let me take an example of Edward Snowden or Julian Assange. These guys, I'm just taking an example of these guys. The people who are whistleblowers is the term, I guess, for them. So these whistleblowers, instead of getting the right opportunity to share information with the world, these are the people who are being labeled as traitors, who are being labeled as sort of terrorists from a certain country's perspective. I mean, I don't know. I said, you need to ask questions. So I would probably ask a question that, what is the authenticity of the information that these guys have given out? But more importantly, you need to be, standing next to these kind of people who are willing to share information for no personal gain of theirs. If they have got a certain amount of personal gains, then yes, we can ask questions. We should ask questions. But you also need to ask questions to the current governments that why is it that you're not comfortable sharing information with people. You should be happy to share information with your subjects. I mean, I don't want to call subjects, but with your countrymen. Probably I'm not using the right word, but yes, that is one example. A few other things that just don't make sense nowadays. I mean, you don't have to look quite far. You can just look around you. And I mean, in my country where I am right now, in India, one of the most interesting things happened a couple of years back. The government which had been running strong, the Congress government, it lost, and people just lost faith. But more interestingly is the question, who won? Now, if I look at it, because I spoke about the party, I gave the name of the party and not the person, I have to say that BJP was the party that won. Right? Now, if I think about it like this, that okay, it was the party that won, then why is it that all of the branding, all of the concepts that were sold to people were revolving around one man? This guy, Mr. Modi, it was all revolving around that. And yes, I have to admit that as far as the information that has been provided to the people or the public, this man has maintained a very clean image and also has maintained a track record, or rather, instead of a clean image, I should say he has maintained a track record for converting or completely turning the state that he was the chief minister of into a much better, economically, also infrastructure. He's developed a lot of things, but there is still a lot of information which is not being shared with the public. He has also been a part of a certain controversy where a group of people said that they believe that he was a part of one of the biggest carnages. I mean, a lot of people killed, communal riots. Ask questions if you feel that whatever information that you're being given is not something that is accurate enough or is not something that is believable. If you as an individual feel that, ask questions. We are lucky enough to live in a day and age of technology where you can quite literally share your views, share your point of view, share your questions, and you might notice that there might be a lot of people who might have similar questions, similar perspectives. So don't shy away. Ask questions. If there is anything that you feel that it doesn't make sense to you, I mean, we are all logical human beings. I mean, we are all logical living beings. Forget about human beings. We don't have to necessarily, stick to certain pieces of information that have been provided to us. We have the liberty to ask questions, and that is the level of intellect that human beings have. That you don't accept things at status quo. You have to remember, ask questions. If there is anything that you feel that just doesn't make sense, you have to ask questions. I mean, look around us. Look at most of the digital media nowadays, Facebook, YouTube. You have individuals who are taking the efforts of uploading content which begs you to reconsider everything that you have been taught, that you have been informed about.